Oh, why, hi there, it's Uncle Ron, and tonight I'm going to discuss why I play Strat-o-Matic Hockey. And I will say outright that it is my favorite hockey game. I don't normally talk about what my favorite games are, and I'm not going to diss any other game in this video. And I'm not going to tell you that it's a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. It has its flaws, and let's go through them. There's a couple seasons that need to be redone. The PC game plays very differently from the card and dice version of the game, such as the card and dice version of the game plays a 90 card fast action card game, 30 per period. The PC game plays a 105 card game, 35 cards per period. There is no checking. There is no A lot of plays that are common in hockey just aren't present in Strat-o-Matic. You cannot block a shot. You do not have any puck battles. You can get technically hit, and you can get technically checked, but it's not always called that. And one of the great debates in sports gaming is what constitutes a breakaway. Just because there's a breakaway column doesn't mean your defenseman's going to get two or three of those a game like they can in Strat. But all that being said, I mean, it's Strat I would consider to be a mid-level complicated game when played on the computer. If you want all the bells and whistles of hits and checks and puck battles and almost a pass by pass, look, there's Hockey Bones. There's APA, where you're not really making much of any decisions at all, along with Hockey Bones, and In the Crease, which really does lay out for you pretty much everything that goes into a hockey game. But those three games, especially In the Crease because I've played it, kind of goes against my play style. And I think for me, one of the reasons why Strat-o-Matic Hockey works is that it does fit my play style. And that is, I get to make a fair amount of decisions. It is the one game that I have played that makes me feel like a player on the ice. Action PC does give you some options to pass and how to set up your offense and all that, but I like the decision making processes involved in Strat. Do I try to take the puck away from an opponent who's trying to penetrate? When I'm on the rush, do I take the outside shot? Do I try to get the better shot by penetrating, or do I try to make the pass to set up the better shot? What do I do trying to kill a penalty? Do I try to skate and get a breakaway short-handed chance? Do I ice the puck and see what happens? There's a lot to that, and for me, again, personally, for me, that is my play style. I want to be the one making the decisions. The other Strat-o-Matic sports kind of go more into coaching. When I play Strat-o-Matic football, I don't feel like Earl Campbell, Tom Brady, Eli Manning, what have you. I feel like an offensive coordinator or a head coach setting up the play, rolling the dice to see what I get, resolving the play, and trying to come up with what comes up with next. And in Strat-o-Matic baseball or any other baseball, you roll for the result. Think about what you want to do for a strategy. You're thinking of that on a grand strategy scale, and again, as a manager. In Strat-o-Matic basketball, I think their most underrated game, oh, by the way, there's kind of a two-pronged approach to that. You can determine how a player takes a shot, or when to sub and when to put in, and how to figure out fatigue and all that. So you can play both coach and player. With me, I think that the sweet spot of Strat-o-Matic is you play at a player level. No coach is going to tell you what to do. They're not going to scream at you to go in, go out, or whatever. You get your instructions on the sideline and all that and there. And I think the other complicated thing with hockey, and this happens with pretty much every hockey game, even if you look at Action PC, which plays very much like a fast action card game would, is that the game is broken into chunks, highlight chunks. We can be really quick about it, such as Shootout or Stone Cold Hockey or Action PC, which pretty much 20-second chunk. Uh, APA, which is a 30-second chunk. I forget what Hockey Bones is off the top of my head. But again, you take a compressed period of time. You either get your shot taken, the puck taken away, or whatever. But again, it's not a necessarily pass by pass game. And so hockey, because it is so fast, would almost be impossible to do a pass by pass game and play it in a reasonable chunk of time. Playing on the computer, so I'm talking about Strat PC Hockey with the card and dice options. Are the computer is doing all the dice rolls and looking up on the charts what the results are and how to set up the penalties, and then you kind of go from there and how aggressive you want to be. On the PC, the other big difference is if you just play on the tabletop, you have 3 offensive settings and 4 defensive settings. Your offense is either 1, 2, or 3, and you can either run 0 through 3 forechecks, and that does depend on how depends on the offense that you run. In the PC game, it defaults to a different offense and defense pretty much for depending on what line you want to use. So your top lines tend to be more aggressive, risk reward. So they might score more goals, but they might find themselves back on their heels a bit. I like that part of it. What else? What would I say kind of brings it apart? I think for hockey fans, true dyed in the wool hockey fans, it doesn't feel enough like hockey. But for those of us who watch maybe 10, 15 games a year, for me, it really is fine. It scratches my hockey itch. Now, some of that comes from being a comfort zone thing. It was the first hockey simulation game that I ever played. I learned it in college, one of the 17,000 reasons I flunked out of Linden State. And it's a game that I've picked up a couple times over the years, played on the computer. But now it is my hockey game of choice because, again, it allows me to have the playing style that I want to play. And for me, it doesn't get bogged down in the details. Yes, I do think that block shots and puck battles along the boards are important. And I think Action PC does a good job of showing you that and moving the action along. But again, my play style is to make decisions. And playing as a player just kind of allows you your own immersion with it. So if you're picturing yourself at the big rink at the Forum in Montreal, the Coliseum, and on the island, or at the Boston Garden, or Maple Leaf Gardens, or whatever it is that you want, or just skating around your backyard playing it, because that's what cards and dice does. I also do not, the games I play out, there is no AI. I change for both teams. I do 5 cards of the 35 constitutes 1 forward line, 7 constitutes a defensive pair. So my top 3 lines get 2 shifts. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. That constitutes 1 period. If we get power plays or penalty kills, that kills into everyone else's time. I do 7 cards per defensive set, so it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So my top 2 pairs get 2 shifts on the ice over a given period, and the third defensive pairing gets 1 shift, or 1 7-card shift. In the end, you get the numbers pretty close to right. You could also mix and match, and if you want to look at the Dave Gardner system, I think it would work, which is you flip to see which line a team puts out there. He has random cards, and then go that way. But because you play a 35-card period in Strat-o-Matic PC Hockey, 5 and 7 are multiples of each other. Everyone gets a chance. You kind of cringe when that 4th line is out there. If you want to kind of match up lines, put your 3rd line checkers out against someone else's scores, you can. I really don't. I tried doing that. It just, for me, not really a strategy I enjoy doing unless... So I really don't. But everyone usually gets a chance to play with everybody. I can play a game in about 40, 45 minutes. Your top scorers are probably going to score more than they would in real life. But the team results I find to be real accurate, and they're fun. And the ability to shoot from three different zones, an outside shot, an inside shot, and of course the rebound breakaway shot just gives that a little more umph. And you can feel two teams that necessarily take a lot of penalties, it's going to be a grinding game. You can feel how physical it is. Um, if it's two pretty boy teams that don't necessarily take a lot of penalties but score a lot of goals, flying back and forth. I love the one-on-one interaction of when one player tries to deke around a player or take the puck away or not allow them in for a better shot, or the ultimate matchup, the one-on-one between the shooter and the goalie, and the anticipation of rolling that goalie rating card to see if the goalie can make the save or if he can't. Again, I think that's also a good mechanic in APA and in the crease, which has the 5 zones, which I think is really fun, and hockey bones, that one-on-one interaction. But I think all told, for me anyway, Strat gives me a good balance of resolving shots, resolving good defensive plays. I use this, of course, so if you use the PC, it's all super advanced anyway. That was the power play I was brought up to play first, so it's second nature to me making the decisions of what to do. If I'm trying to kill a penalty, do I take the chance and go for the shorthanded bid and skate? I never clear the puck. Or do I ice? Do I just keep it away? And that gets rather frustrating for some, like ice, because you can't get anything going. But for me, it has that good ebb and flow. And again, when you take that fast action card and read off the power play column, it's not always a good result. You can lose it. So, again, I've been playing the game off and on for, oh my God, 30 some odd years now, because I'm an older gamer. But it just fills whatever that need is for me. And I highly recommend it, warts and all, if you like games that you need to make a lot of decisions to play. Now you can, there's mods for everything. And so if you really want to just go with a 30 decided dice on a pass, penetrate, or shoot thing, there's charts that you can do that. So you don't have to make that decision. It kind of automates it in your head. I like making that decision. The scoring comes out about right again. That's how I cut my teeth in the game, and it just works. But again, the game does have some flaws. The new interface, I don't like it at all. I play with the old one. You might not like all those decisions to have to make. And again, APA and Hockey Bones really are two games that let a game play out of you that kind of plays itself in front of you, and that you roll the dice and record the result. Both very good games in that result. So, however, whatever style you like to play, there's probably something out there. Again, I like the decisions. I have the bulk of the seasons that I would ever buy right from my wheelhouse, and because of Strat Hockey, I became a huge fan of Brian Trottier, because he was so good in the 70s and early 80s on both sides of the puck, which is probably why his career kind of fell off the wagon towards the end, because he used his body an awful lot. But he could shoot, he could pass, and he could check. And I think Strat-o-Matic does a very good job in doing all that. Between the fast action cards and the split deck cards, there's really no two combinations are the same. So even with the random dice, the number generator as the dice, every game is going to have a different kind of feel. And good goalies are going to stand on their head, and Billy Smith's going to take stupid penalties when you don't want him to take stupid penalties. And so for me, I think as an intermediate hockey fan, it feels like how I picture a hockey game in my head. There's also, of course, Shootout and Stone Cold, which don't require really any hockey knowledge, just a concept that you kind of want to learn more about the game. They're narrative, highlight-driven games that play really fast. Never really done Hockey Blast. Again, in the crease, Hockey Bones are probably the two games, along with APA Hockey, not quite at that level that just give you all the nitty gritty detail. In the crease, actually, if you like that, all that detail plays very well for that. Um, the computer version doesn't have any AI, which is why I really wouldn't recommend it. Strat kind of hits that middle sweet spot of, yes, you're the one that's determining the results by what you're thinking and how you're reacting to a situation. It's not as deep as some of the other games. It's not as story driven as some of the quicker play games. It's just a very good medium game that, for me, again, scratches that itch. I would put Strat and Action PC on the same level. They're both very good games. For me, you really don't make enough decisions in Action PC, but the play-by-play text is good, and you get those corner battles and block shots and all that. For me, I really don't need all that. It kind of, what do you want in your smoothie type deal? Some people want mango, just want strawberries, blueberries, and yogurt and a banana. I mean, that's pretty good for me. So it's not necessarily everyone's cup of tea. I understand that. I wish they would just kind of resolve some of the differences between the PC game and the cards and dice game. And I think of the 4 Strat games I have, it's probably 4th on the list of game design. But again, I think all 4 of their games are very good. That's kind of a nitpicky thing. On a cards and dice level, yes, if you buy a set that's not new, it's still a 6-pack and you got to print your own cards. But I'm pretty much just talking about why I play the computer version where everyone is carded, whether they played all 80 games or 2, and you can mix or match to delight. In fact, now with more and more available, if you really wanted to do a single team as played replay, that stuff's out there for you to find. And if you want to do it, you can. It's a pain in the tushy to do, which hopefully at some point will become easier, but you can do it in Strat-o-Matic. Also, I think because I am a solo player for all of it, it's good against yourself. And if you're worried about, if you're rooting for one team, you're rooting against another, as long as you're fair, the decisions you make for one team, as long as they're equal with the other, it's a good gaming experience. And because I really don't play with a lot of bells and whistles when I do cards and dice, it paints a good image in my head. And again, I like the playing the role as the player. And so that's why I play Strat-o-Matic PC Hockey.